Hey, Shalom brothers, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to the Raw, the Real, the Red Pill. This is going to be a part 3 and the final part to the brothers who might have received the Red Pill knowledge a little late and might have found themselves, already with kids and in marriages. While finding this knowledge and coming to the reality of a woman's nature. Like I said, this will be the part 3, and I'm gonna go ahead and give a discretion because this will be kind of a dialogue that not everyone will like, but it's needed to complete the series for the particular brothers who may be married, have children, be in a relationship, long-term serious relationship with the woman, knowing what we know about her and her nature. Like I said, it's not going to be for everybody, but I'm going to kick it how it go. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and give it to you raw, man. This video is going to be, this dialogue is going to be on the physical subjugation of a woman. And it's something that's frowned upon in Western culture because it's it's a feminist culture. Pro-female, you take a female, take the leash off of her. No pun intended on the bitch. But take the leash off of her and let her do as she will with no leadership, no domination, and no system to dominate her. This is pretty much what you get here in America. You get and Brother Escape Black Man talks about this a lot. And if you want to get further understanding on this, I definitely recommend his page. But he's absolutely right. We get a prostitute culture. Finding a virgin these days is pretty much slim to none. But when you're already in these relationships, sometimes it's not as easy to walk away because you have a lot to lose because of the system that we're in. So it's either you got to be the bitch or you have to make her your bitch. Somebody got to be the tail. Somebody has to be led. Somebody has to dominate. That's just the reality of relationships. And this is how we got to look at it for the brethren who may consider themselves too deep to get out. So my first video was kind of a warm up, and I'm really not. Every time I listen to that video twice, and I kind of cringe a little bit because it is some simplicity involved. But here in American culture, that's just the reality of the shit. When you went too deep to get out, or when you're just awaiting that day for her to leave, The second video was more so from a spiritual aspect, all true stories, all real, all raw and real, it is real life. And that's for the spiritual brothers, or somebody who might want to understand the spiritual nature and spiritual subjugation. And this video will be, like I said, on the physical subjugation of a woman. We must understand, and I pretty much said this in all videos, is that women are like children. And if you watch the other 2 videos, you might understand where I'm getting at with that. So there's no point of, reiterating. But one thing about children, we know that children need to be disciplined. So domestically, if a woman get out of line, you may have to physically discipline her. But it's a very dangerous thing, which leads me to say this: if you're not already in a relationship, if you're not already settled down with children or bunkered down with a woman, it's best not even to do it. Not in this captivity, not in this culture, not here in America. But like I said, we should all know this by now, but this video is for the brothers who are already in it. It's a very touchy thing. It's very dangerous too, because you can be incarcerated. You can take many L's. You can take an L for this type of thing. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's ways to go about it in which you may not take an L. It's less risky. I'm not saying if the bitch get out of line and ball your fist and knock her teeth out. Although there are some very raw brothers who get down like that, and I've seen it firsthand. And when it does happen, hey, bitch should have stayed in her place. You know what I'm saying? Or she should have chose a better dominant force in her life that wouldn't be kicking her ass. Maybe she should have found herself a simp. But aside from that, I can give you a testimony on one of the things I've done, to keep the fear to keep the fear in a relationship. Because I should have said this before I got into it, but a woman, as a man should fear the Most High Yah, and as a child should fear a parent, your woman should fear you, man. And it's a fear out of reverence and respect. And sometimes the only way to get this kind of fear in a woman is through physical subjugation. Whether she get out of line and you gotta clench the collar of her shirt and jerk her ass to your face and tell this bitch to look in your eyes and tell her to get her fucking shit together. Similar to how a mother, BAWs are known for this, the B-dub move, would snatch up her child in public and it would straighten them out. Something as simple as that, physical force, physical influence. And if she walks away or she runs away, then so be it. But it'll be better to be in a relationship in which you're respected and able to dominate her in than, be a fucking simp. And when you leave out the front door, another man's coming in the back dominating your bitch. I had a situation, and I actually done this. My daughter's birthday was not too long ago. Well, it was last November. And what I did was I made a layaway card at Walmart. And I'm not going to lie, I spoiled my baby girl. Made a $300 layaway, nothing but toys. And of them toys, I went and got Nerf guns. Because I am a firearm owner and, I'm trying to introduce my daughter to the concept of firearms. But, of course, she's only 4. And exactly where we live and, ranges. And, she needs a little bit more time. But I got her some Nerf guns. And shortly after the birthday, my woman began this contentious bullshit. And it's funny because I had it on video. I had to delete it because of memory on my phone. But I had it on video. I recorded it. It was the funniest shit ever. But I got on some contentious bullshit. And I left the room and grabbed one of these Nerf guns. And she was laying in the bed on her back, on her phone. The room was dark. My daughter was in there watching cartoons, and I cracked the door. And it's funny, I had it on video. I wish I could post that shit. I don't have the video anymore. It was hilarious. But I cracked the door, and I aimed that Nerf gun from across the room. I aimed it. I lined up my sights and hit her right in the fucking mouth with that Nerf ball. Well, even a ball. It was like a hard rubber tip foam dart. That shit just glided right into her fucking bottom lip. You know what I'm saying? But she got the point. She didn't like it. I did it in a playful manner. You can do it in a playful manner, but as long as you get your point across, and the point is, stay in line, stay in your place. Another instance, more recently, I had, my woman was running her mouth. I forgot what we was, conversing about, but she was running her mouth. She was talking that bullshit. And I had, I'm not gonna lie, we all have these impulses, and it's natural to immediately, edify a woman physically. Because as men, when we're challenged, that's our natural. Put it like this: if you look it into the perspective and the window of how the Most High be feeling, when Moses was on the mount and the Israelites were down at the bottom of the mount worshiping the golden calf, the Father told Moses he wanted to kill him. You know what I'm saying? It's a righteous indignation, and that righteous indignation has an impulsive force behind it. You know what I mean? And though Moses talked to the Father and went down to the bottom of the mount and killed the people himself, the Father, we're in the image of the Father, like I said in the last video, part 2. So it's only natural that we have that natural instant indignation against a high offense of a woman, being in our state of authority. So this particular time, I had that instant indignation to where I wanted to hit this woman. But we got to be smart, because you got to be careful how you do it, because like I said, you can be incarcerated. The system's not going to show you no love, black man. No one's going to love you. No one does love you. All we have really is each other and the Most High. And we really don't have each other because a lot of our brethren are not in their right state of mind. Not to get off topic, but I grabbed a square pillow And it was in front of my daughter. I actually encourage that it be done. If your woman violates in front of the children, it should be edified in front of the children, because this will also solidify your authority to your children. Because your children see who's the head and the tail. Your children see the dynamic of the relationship. That's why a lot of fathers don't get respected, because the wife or the woman treats the dad like shit, and treats him like a bitch. It's a role reversal, and the children see that. So daddy's the pushover, and they fear mommy, and they guard the words of mommy. And mommies don't give wisdom and discernment and proper instruction in life, really. They just regurgitate what they believe, and what they believe can be as simple as a social standard or a social construct. A man's thought is a lot deeper. But just to continue with what I did is in front of my daughter and everything, instead of balling my fist and knocking my woman's teeth out, which is what I wanted to do, I grabbed a square throw pillow off the bed and proceeded to beat the shit out of my woman with it. I beat her with that pillow. I grabbed the pillow by the corner and started whamming her ass with it. She had reached for a plate on the end table. And it's something about a man's strength and his indignation. I had grabbed her by her ankles and dragged her. She was reaching for that plate. She actually got a hold of it but lost grip, because I grabbed her by one arm and drug her across the bed and continued to just mollywop her with this fucking pillow. Of course, at the end of the day, it's just a pillow. But it reinstated that fear of reverence and respect that she should have for me. Like I said, this isn't a video that some people are going to hate it. Some people might unsubscribe. But this is the part 3, and I cannot go through this topic of coming into the red pill without talking about, coming into this topic of coming into the red pill while in a union without talking about ways to exert dominance. That's what I've been talking about in all 3 videos. But I cannot skip this part. It's common worldwide. Women have to be subjugated. If they're not, then they turn evil. They're easily manipulated by demons. I don't know if you ever seen a black woman, when she gets upset, her whole countenance changes. It's in the Bible too. The countenance of her face changes. You can literally see the infestation of the demon within her. But they're not deep enough. They're not deep enough to know that that's what's happening. All they see is that they feel a certain way, but they don't understand the spiritual implications behind it. So as you would discipline a child to edify them, you'll have to discipline your woman to edify her, whether it's not giving her no dick when you're dissatisfied, staying away from her and not endowing her with your time, which is precious, and blessing her with your presence. Or whether it's just straight up manhandling her ass and reminding her that she is the weaker vessel. All 3 of these ways are proper ways to deal with your woman. You can't reason with a woman like how you reason with a man. You can talk to another man. He might have an indignation or a problem with you, and y'all can both spit whatever you want to say, and it can be a certain level of reasoning and logic to resolve the issue. With a woman, she don't operate like that. All she sees is how she feels, and it's really hard for her to override that with a logical debate. So there does come a time where you just gotta, as Corey Holcomb says, reset her. You have to fucking reset her, and that's one way to do it. I highly recommend that you do use caution in this method, and for this reason alone, I also recommend that, like I said, any man who's not in a relationship right now, don't get into one, because it's not worth fighting for your dominance when you naturally already have it as a single man. As a bachelor, you already have it. You can do what you want to do when you want to do it without saying shit. You can live how you want to live. You don't got to fight and be with a contentious individual who acts a certain way immaturely as a child because they don't get their way. You don't have to please nobody but yourself, and that is freedom. There are benefits to being with a woman, but the type of woman we have these days, especially in westernized America, when it westernizes their mind, it pollutes their mind, and it can pollute your life. It can really pollute your life. You got guys who are incarcerated. You have guys who are felons, because the court system said they committed a crime. by not allowing extortion of their funds to a woman who was on pure usury. So it's a lot, it's really deep, but for the brothers who are already in the quicksand, who are in too deep to get out now, and you want to reassert that dominance, that is definitely a way. Trying to think of another way. I already talked about sexually. Preferably when I have sex with my woman, I call her a bitch. I utterly dominate her. I tell her to shut the fuck up if she's making too much noise. I choke her. I pull her hair. All these things I definitely do encourage and recommend every single time you have sex with her. If she's not doing anything that's pleasing for you, then don't even have sex with her. If she is pleasing you and her ways are pleasing you, then your sex should be more passionate and maybe not so aggressive. There's nothing wrong with making love to your woman. You know what I'm saying? You should. I highly recommend that as well. But 90% of the time, your sexual energy should be exerted in utter dominance over her, because that's the only time you can really do what the fuck you want. No holds barred. But definitely, sometimes you gotta physically check this bitch. And it's not, and I was talking about it when we talk about the other nations of men, the Indian men, the Chinese man, the Asian man, all these other nations of men, they subjugate their women, and this is why their women are in line, and in turn, they have a focused family unit to where the children are in success, to where the communities are in success, to where they're able to come to the black communities and pimp it out, because the black community is not a success because we're not able to dominate this woman, and the system makes it so you can't. So it's not necessarily your fault. It's not necessarily men's fault. It's just how it was laid out, how it was structured. But this is all I gotta say on this note. If you gotta physically subjugate your woman, then do so. Don't allow anyone to tell you that you shouldn't do it and that you should try to reason with this woman who has no reason. You should try to reason with her too, like in a certain extent though. Not how they think you should, but how you would discipline your child. Before the ass whooping and after the ass whooping, you make clear on the violation what your expectations were and where they went wrong. That reasoning, but it doesn't necessarily adjudicate or do away with the punishment. Am I saying go out and elbow women in their mouths? Am I saying go out and uppercut a woman in her face, break her jaw, knock her teeth out, crack her ribs? I want to say no, but that's all in context, depending on what she does. Because let's say if your own woman, and women do this, if she grabs a knife or tries to hit you in the head with a bottle or tries to cause a bodily harm, if her violation is beyond verbatim, then yes, anything goes. Break her fucking jaw. Cause her severe pain, because that is wrong. It's even written in the book of the law that if two men are fighting, for example, and a woman is to jump in and get licks off, in the scriptures actually say if two men are fighting and if a woman jumps in and hits the groin of another man, hit her with the china from wrestling. I don't know if y'all remember the dominatrix butch ass bitch who would just low blow everybody. She hit one of them, her hands had to be cut off for that shit, man. This is not in a woman's place to raise harm to another man. The only reason why they do it here in America is because they know that we're tied up in the system to where she can always run to white daddy to punish you for life, for the rest of your life, in ways that would affect you for the rest of your life and alter your life. So really, all in all, if the bitch is really unbearable, it's all in your particular situation. Because if you ain't got no kids with this woman and she's just a girlfriend, leave. You don't even have to keep her in line. Like, fuck that bitch, roll out, and just leave, But for all the brothers who are in marriages, who are in long-term relationships, to where if they leave, they're going to be hanging a noose around their neck, I can dig it. I can understand. I've been in a relationship, like I said, for 8 years, and I know that eventually that day is going to come. it's sad to say that, you know, being left by your woman and being drugged through the system and raked over the coals is like a rite of passage for men. It's like a rite of passage through the fire of manhood, because it seems like all men have to go through this, all black men at least. And it's really sad that the woman has pitched herself up as an enemy to progress, to prosperity, to all the good that comes from allowing the proper family infrastructure to thrive, as the man is the dominant force in the family union. But thanks for tuning in to the Raw, the Real, and the Red Pill. You know, this is going to be the final video concerning the Red Pill man who was in the pre-existing union. This is part 3, and like, subscribe, and comment. You know, I really do appreciate you all's comments, those who do. You know, even if you disagree with some shit, or even if you want to add on to some shit, you know, whatever the case may be, I'm here and I'm all ears, and I'm gonna keep pushing this content. And y'all have a good one. Shalom. I'm gonna go ahead and take it back to the warehouse. I'm about done with this work. This truck is empty now. So I'll holler back, y'all. Be easy.